100 movies, 100 days, and Train to Busan is the one today. Sorry, I've been gone for a while. I was sick, I was busy, but I'm back on the grind. That's why we're not doing a day a movie. It's just 100 days, 100 movies, so I can make up for lost time. But yeah, Train to Busan, really liked this one. I mean, the action was really good. The effects were really good. After watching it, I went straight to like the box office, the how much it made. I wanted to see if it was a hit or flop. That's usually what I do. That's pretty standard stuff. This movie was made with $8.5 million and made around $90 million, which is crazy. That's a really tiny budget for how ambitious this film was and how much it was able to accomplish. Like, all of it takes place on a train, except for certain scenes, but they still, like, the set design, the props, the costumes, all the blood splatter, all the effects on the zombies themselves are all really, really good. So doing all of this with, what, like $9 million is actually crazy. So I think it's definitely something to honor about that. The cinematography is great. There's one scene where the zombie's running. He has this like whole rig attached to him where it's like you're following his head as he's running. That was like, I just, that really stuck out to me. I watched it, I was like, oh, I really like that shot. There's just a good mirror shot. Good mirror shots are always impressive to people who know what goes into like making a film. So that's always nice to see. Overall, I don't think it was an impeccable film. I still really liked it though. I still thought there was a lot of good things about it. My biggest qualm was there was one scene they had to have the part where they're like, oh, they might be infected. We have to lock the doors. We have to trap them. And they like shut the doors on them as they're trying to get in. And I really hated that. I feel like that's a huge like trope that they do in a lot of zombie films like that. Like the survivors go haywire. The real monsters are the humans. Like that type of stuff. And I feel like it was really forced. And when they finally got into the room, they're like, one of you has to be infected. Get out of here. Leave the train. And I'm like, you guys have seen the like what happens when you get infected. It takes like 10 seconds for them to transform, and they start showing symptoms like immediately. These guys have been fighting through this for like 10 minutes. If one of them was bitten, you would have noticed by now. Also, they could have like done a thing where they're just like, oh, let's just look to see if they got bit. Let's just check their bodies. But no, they immediately jump to the kick them out of the car. And I know it's like the whole like fear overrides like compassion or whatever, but still it was like, I feel like it was way too forced for the situation at hand. Like at that point, they should have been more willing to hear them out. They haven't necessarily had an experience where something like that happened, so there's no real reason for them to fear it that much. Maybe if before they let people in and then discovered one of them was infected and that killed a bunch of them, that would have been more reason for them to be like this, but that hasn't happened yet, and they were just working purely off like suspecting one of them to may be infected even though they're not showing any symptoms. I thought that was a little bit forced, but overall, yeah, it was pretty good. I liked the whole sacrifice versus selflessness versus whatever theme. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, spoiler, everyone dies at the end except for two of the characters, and it's fitting to the theme. I mean, the whole selflessness versus selfishness thing. Both die, but one is more honorable than the other. I like that whole concept. It kind of gave me a little bit of Departed like vibes where it's like good things happen to bad people, like that whole thing. Also, I'm gonna compare this to other things of its genre. This kind of mixes two like trope genres, if you will. I don't really know what the proper word for it is, but it's the zombie genre and the everything happens on a train genre that I like to watch. Like, everything happens on a train. There's that one episode from Adventure Time. There's Bullet Train. There's Murder on the Orient Express. There's Snowpiercer. There's a bunch of these films that all take place on this train. So you get all these cramped visuals with this like them fighting their way up and all these like crazy choreography involving the train. I will say out of all five of these, like comparing them all, I would say like Bullet Train is still my favorite. I love Bullet Train. That's like a fan favorite. Like that's all my friends love that movie. It's just such a fun one. I would prefer Bullet Train a little over this one just for the goofiness of that film. I have a very specific taste when it comes to that. But in terms of zombie films, I would say this is definitely high ranking. I would probably say put the second to Shaun of the Dead. I love Shaun of the Dead. I love that movie. But what makes it stick out in terms of the whole zombie thing is just that it takes place on a train, though. There isn't really much. Even said in interviews that they took inspiration from the zombies from 7 Days to Die and Ghost in the Shell too, and they took inspiration from other sources to create these zombies. So they're not even that unique of zombies. They're actually like really basic zombies, like the way they do everything. So what really separates it is just the fact that it takes place on a train, the majority of it. And in that regard, it does a pretty good job. And I still think it's not bad. I still think it's a pretty fun zombie film. I will say it's a little cliche at times, but overall I think it's able to stick itself out a little more than others. So yeah, that's Train to Busan. I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10. Favorite scene overall has to be when they're fighting their way up. Like, they like wrap their arms, and then the big guy, they start fighting. Oh, speaking of the big guy, he was by far the coolest character. He's basically just a superhuman. He's like throwing these guys around. He's like dripped out of control in the beginning of it. They takes it off, and he wraps his arms. He starts fighting them with his bare fist. The rest of them have weapons, but now he just goes in fist swinging. I loved that. Yeah, he's definitely a favorite character. The scene where they're all fighting their way up, and then he sacrifices himself. That was definitely the best part of the film, in my opinion. I love that scene. So yeah, that's Train to Busan. I've got a few more movies I'm gonna review. I'm gonna try catching up this week because I'm out of school now, so I got plenty of time. I got a few to make up, but overall, I'll get to it. Sorry for sounding nasally. Good night or goodbye.